How to give your long-term relationship lover or your wife space whenever she comes to you and says, I need space. This is a huge opportunity for you, even though when this happens, when you hear these words, it doesn't feel like it, but that's what being a man and being a good husband is about, is our actions have to be in line with whatever our goals are, not in line with our feelings. That's what sets us aside. Unfortunately, most of us, if you're like me, you've never had anybody that actually trained you on how do you do this? How do you align your actions in your relationship with your lover with your actual goals, what you want out of the relationship? We become emotionally reactive typically when we hear these words, and our actions are respond in a way that instead of creating an environment where she's attracted back to us and she wants to be with us, we lash out in ways that we want to let her know our feelings and how much we love her and how much we want the relationship and we don't want to be separated. And unfortunately, all that does a lot of times is pushes her so far away that it can end the relationship forever, or it can result in a divorce if you're married, if you don't know practical ways how to actually respond when she says this in a way that this can be an opportunity instead of something that's going to potentially end the relationship. These are things that you don't want to do. You don't want to start reaching out to her and saying, now I want to try to work on the relationship. Hey, can we go to counseling? Can we reach out to a therapist? Start reassuring that you're going to change or that you have changed, or that you can actually see her point of view. Now, all of a sudden, you're wanting to work on the relationship. And I get that because that always comes from a genuine place and it comes from a real place. The unfortunate part of that is when she's saying she needs space, at this very moment, she's feeling just a little bit overwhelmed and she just needs to back off and think. And this is an opportunity for you to respond to her in a way that maybe currently she has bias against you in certain areas, bias against the relationship. At this point, she's probably already discussed it with her girlfriends, and maybe she's made a decision to back off. And now you could have just had a heated argument. You know, you've had a discussion where it didn't go so well and she's angry and she's all emotional and she just needs a minute. If you'll take this as an opportunity to just back off and let her do that, and don't reach out to her and say, oh, I want to work on the relationship at this point. So step number one is something that you don't want to do, is you don't want to ask her, can we work on the relationship? And you don't want to implement a strategy to work on the relationship, because working on the relationship is what's not going to work at this stage. So do not try to work on the relationship. Another thing that you could do, which is step number 2, is do not pressure her into a serious conversation. And when I say step number 2, I don't want you to look at this as something that you're implementing as a step. This is something that a lot of men can actually do as a way of being subconsciously, is now that she's backing off, you're wanting to move forward. And maybe for the past year, she's been telling you, I want to talk about the relationship. I want to share some things with you. And by you pressuring her at this point, consciously or subconsciously, to talk on the relationship. And when I say pressuring her, she's saying, I need space. And now all of a sudden you want to sit down on the sofa and talk. She's saying she needs space. And now all of a sudden you want to start texting her more than you've ever texted her. Or you're texting her too much. Or you're calling her more than you would have called her. And that does have its place, but not at this stage in the relationship. When she's saying that she needs space, one of the things that you don't want to do is push an agenda to actually start talking to her. Now, the reason that I'm saying don't do this is because when she says that she needs space, the very thing that you're going to want to do emotionally to react to those words, I need space, I need a minute, is you're going to want to start talking about why. And that is the last thing that you need to do, even though it is the very first thing that you feel like you should do. Do not try to talk about the relationship at this stage. The next thing, if you're giving her space, don't start stalking her to see what she's up to. Don't try to monitor her activity. At this point, maybe she goes out and she takes some space. She needs a girls' night. She goes out. Maybe they go to a club, whatever their thing is. I'm not saying I agree with whatever she's doing, but I am telling you that what you need to do is agree with whatever she's doing. Because if you start disagreeing, or you're monitoring her, or you're questioning her, what you need to do at this point is not monitor her, not stalk her, not being on her social media, not tracking her iPhone, not checking and finding out from her friends what she was doing at the club, and not reacting to anything that she does during this separation time. Or if you're not separated, just this minute that you want to take to give her a breather, because all of the things that I just told you not to do In doing those things, that's you starting to walk in the feminine. And when she's saying she needs a minute, typically what's happened at this point in the relationship, even the most manly man, if you've been in a situation where you're not providing an emotional safe space for her to be emotionally attracted and connected to you, that's actually you walking in the feminine sense, because a masculine man, the woman always knows it's safe to talk to him. He's got my back. He's always there for me. And if she starts having emotions where at that very moment she's not feeling that and she needs a breather, one of the things that you can come across as a very masculine man, as a new way of being in your mind, is take this as an opportunity to give her exactly what she's asking for. It's a very masculine trait to back off. It's a very curious and attractive trait to be quiet. So right now, one of the biggest things that you don't want to do is become overly talkative. You don't want to stalk her. You don't want to pressure her. You don't want to try to get her to work on the relationship. You don't want to finally agree to marriage counseling at this point. You just want to back off and be a quiet, masculine, manly man that's happy. So there's a lot of things out there. I've even done some videos on the no contact rule. This is an area where you want to back off a minute, but you don't want to do the no contact rule. If she reaches out to you first, you respond. So what are some of the things that you can do? So this is what I want you to do, okay? I want you to become different by being indifferent. And I want you to start thinking about all of the stuff that you've been told on any marriage program you've ever looked at about his needs and her needs, that none of those needs are actual needs, that whatever you think that you need right now, those are just personal preferences. So you think that you need sex, you think that you need this communication, you think you need X, Y, and Z. And by thinking of those things as needs, that's putting her in a position to be responsible for your happiness, which is putting pressure on her. And right now, if you keep pressuring her, depending on where you're at in your relationship or the issues that's going on in the relationship or the separation, sometimes, depending on how long this lasts, you putting pressure on her could actually cause her to look at another man as a friend or whatever. If they're not putting pressure on her, even if it's just a coworker, okay, if they're providing an outlet for that pressure to come up because they're just listening and they're not talking and they're not engaging in the conversation, they're just being there for her to vent, they're the outlet to relieve that pressure. You want to be the quiet man that's safe, where she could actually come to you and say, I want a divorce. And you're like, I really don't want a divorce, but I also understand that we're two different people. And by you being okay with whatever she says at this point, you are the outlet that her pressure can come out of. Then that's something that's attractive. It's masculine. It creates curiosity, and it goes against everything that you feel that you should be doing. So what I mean by that is you want to be different by being indifferent. Even though you're indifferent, that doesn't mean that you're cold shouldering. That doesn't mean that you're no contacting. It does mean that you don't want to be the one contacting her first. So let me take being different by being indifferent a step further. I want you to implement being different by being indifferent by implementing what I call the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are called positive, polite, and playful. So as you're not communicating with her, it's kind of like a hybrid of the no contact rule. You're backing off, you're giving her a minute, but when she reaches out to you first, you respond always, regardless of what she says, in a positive, polite, and most importantly, a playful manner. Think about when you guys were dating, she fell in love with you, she married you, she moved in with you, she became your long-term relationship lover or your wife. And the way that you attracted her to the point that that attraction built to where your relationship got to where it was when it was good, you did that by implementing the 3 Ps subconsciously. You didn't have all this baggage, you didn't have all the issues, you didn't have the bills, you didn't have the everything that comes with a long-term relationship, all of the stresses. And she fell in love with you because you were positive, polite, and playful. And so you've probably got away from that. So even though you're backing off and you're letting her reach out to you first, when she does reach out to you, I want you to respond. And always, in a way, I want you to write this down or take a screenshot of what I'm giving you, positive, polite, and playful. Now, sometimes that's challenging to remain positive, polite, and playful, because subconsciously you're going to resent her for needing space because it's hurtful. When somebody says, I need space, that attacks your livelihood, it attacks your manhood, it attacks your personality and your character. And you start thinking all these things. Is she cheating on me? I'm taking care of the bills. I'm doing my part in the household. Or you start remembering some of the things that you are not taking responsibilities in the relationship that you know you should. Then you start feeling guilty, and then you want to get depressed. And sometimes you want her to know that you're depressed as a manipulation tactic to attract her back. And that could even be subconscious. But you don't want to do any of those things. You want to, under all circumstances, remain positive, polite, and playful, and be different by being indifferent, which is being okay with the status quo, okay? Because here's what's going on right now. Right now, you're thinking logically, but women in a relationship, in a marriage, in a long-term relationship, they don't think logically about the relationship like they would maybe at their job. Walking in the feminine in a relationship, what's truth for the woman is how she's feeling at that moment. So if you kind of think about, if you look at this as feline femininity, if you kind of look at a cat. So if you've ever been around a cat wants to go and come. And if you try to get the cat to come to you, it's going to hiss at you. It's going to run away, right? But if you're just there and you're not even paying that cat any attention, you're this nice guy, and if the cat starts coming up and it rubs on your leg and you scratch it on the head and you rub it on the back, but in a second it's going to get tired and it's going to want to go do its thing. It needs space. If you're just that cool, calm, collective guy and you let it go do its thing and you're indifferent, and that's very different, if you're just cool with what it's doing, that creates curiosity in the cat, and it's very attractive, and it'll always come back to you. And with relationship, feminine, feline curiosity, this works the same way in a relationship almost every single time. So you just need to be this okay guy, and you always want to be positive, polite, and playful. And positive, polite, and playful, please screenshot. Hey guys, I want to share something with you. If you're still watching the video at this stage, I'm assuming that you're getting at least some benefit from the content. I want to give you something else. I'm offering right now a free masterclass, and at the end of that masterclass, I'm giving you an opportunity to apply to work with me. The website to do that is denvergriffin.com/masterclass. And if you're enjoying some of this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. I'm posting YouTube videos daily right now to give you free content in order to help you save your marriage. And I want you to be notified as those videos become available in real time. Please screenshot this and tell yourself all throughout the day during this separation period or this breather period that part of being positive is if you're not somebody that's walking in a constant smile right now, and guess what? I know you're not, because if you were always smiling, she wouldn't have come to you and said she needs space. So you need to get in a habit of smiling. And for a lot of you, I walk through this. It doesn't come natural to me to constantly smile, but I constantly retrain myself to walk around smiling, smiling, smiling. My nature is to be focused on the problems, to see the issues, to find all the problems and go fix everyone in the room. And over the course of my life, I realized that's a huge blessing. Like for a lot of you guys, it's amazing at your job. You can see the problems. That means you know how to fix them and you have the solution. But in your relationship with your lover, you might see the problems and you might see the solutions, but the last person on earth that she's going to listen to about the problems is you. But I can tell you, if you want to fix the problems instead of approaching her how to go about that, if you can see the issues of the things that she's doing wrong, the last person she's going to hear those from is you. Okay? There's a lot of people she'll listen to, but you're the last person that needs to tell her what she needs to change. What you can do to aid in her changing is what I'm telling you. Back off, give her a minute to breathe, and be positive, polite, and playful, which your goal is to attract her back. Your goal is to increase her attraction for you. And if you're walking around with a smile, with your mouth shut, and some of the things that I have to do, if I have something in my business or whatever come up that's maybe not the best news and I'm in a bad mood, the way that I can get myself out of that is I do this with my grandchildren, and it works for me and it'll work for you. I literally will hold a smile, I look in the mirror, and I say, I'm happy, I am happy, I am happy. Okay? And if you're with her and she triggers you, because a lot of times during this separation period or this breather or this moment, if you're just being this cool guy, she'll test you to see, wow, Is he really like becoming cool all of a sudden? This is attractive to me. Is this legit? Is this real? And step number one is positive, polite, and playful. Is this manipulative or is it real? One of the things that you can do is realize that she's probably going to test you. And whenever she tests you, you don't want to blow up. Because for women, it's not about the things that you're doing right. All of those are wonderful. But if you do one thing wrong, it'll just kind of delete all of the good stuff that you did because all she's going to remember is the bad. So one of the things that you can do to help you implement positive, polite, and playful is just say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Hold that smile all day. Practice it with strangers on the street. Practice it at your work. Practice it on the bus. Practice it on your commute at a red light with the person next to you. Be happy with everyone. And if you feel the need, once your buttons are being pushed, if you feel the need to be emotionally reactive, you want to lash out, you want to argue, you want to tell her that this is how we fix the relationship, tell yourself, shut up, shut up, shut up. If you try to do it silently, if you need to, go in the bathroom, shut the door and say, shut up, 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 shut up. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. This will work. It's a psychological hack and it works every single time. And it's going to help you go against your feelings and it will start stage one of renewing your mind because we want to carry this back into the relationship once you guys are reconciled. Right now, your relationship is not where it should be. It's not even where you want it to be. One of the ways that when you reattract her back, you get through the separation, you get through the breather, and you get through the pause is become a happy man. No woman on earth is ever divorced or separated permanently from a man that's truly happy. So, next thing is step number 2. Remain calm in all circumstances. So I want you to calm down, grow up, and get closer. Denver, what do you mean by that? Well, no matter what she tells you during this stage, I want you to remain calm. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Grow up. What does grow up mean? Grow up means that if she says, I want to separate, I want a divorce, you don't respond in a way like a 3-year-old would and have a temper tantrum, make her feel guilty and you're not getting your way. Because if she says these words at that very moment, she's biased against you. Please take this as an opportunity because she's going to expect you to confirm the bias against you. If she starts dancing on your buttons right now, she is going to expect you to respond in a way that's going to confirm the bias that she has against you. But by being an adult and realizing that this whole crap that we've been told on TV and so-called marriage experts and counselors about his needs and her needs, right now, don't expect her to meet any of your needs. And please start the process as you grow up to realize everything that you think you need are only personal preferences. And if at this moment, as an adult, I don't get my personal preference met, as a grown-up, I can still be happy. I can still be okay. And that's very, very, very attractive. The next thing is, if she pushes your button, let's say maybe you guys are living in the same household as you're taking a breather, but you're sleeping together. She tells you something that you don't like, and you just respond in a way that's happy, and you let her know, maybe she says, hey, I think we should move out. Maybe I should actually get separated, right? If you're not there. I'm just using this as an example. You want to respond in a way that's, you know what, that's not what I want, but I also understand that I want you to be happy, and my ultimate goal is to save our relationship, and if that's something you feel like you need, you know what, I'm here to support you either way. It's not what I want, right? But I'm also not the only person in the relationship. I respect you and I love you. And then once you get done with that, you get closer. So remain calm, calm down, grow up, get closer. So when you hear something that you're pissed off and you feel like you want to get on your side of the bed and ignore and turn your back because she said something you don't like, which is what you've been doing because you're a normal man that hasn't been trained on this new way of thinking, okay? But now you're becoming something different. You're becoming a 1% of a 1% man. And whenever a 1% of a 1% man he'll hear something from his spouse, from his long-term relationship lover that he doesn't like, that the old you would pout about, you're going to do the exact opposite of how you feel. You're going to respond, these are my preferences, but the world's not going to end, and now let's snuggle, I'm going to hold you. It's going to be the opposite of what she's expecting you to do because it's the opposite of what you've done for the last several months, years in your relationship, and you're starting the process to change, which if she knows that she can trigger you and you're like, that's not what I want, that's not my preference, but we're two different people, I respect you, and now you're snuggling, and this is the opposite of what you've been doing, that's an emotionally safe man. And oh my God, that's so attractive to a woman, and it's going to cause her heart to melt. And if you're still under the same roof, you probably will stay under the same roof if you'll do what I'm telling you. Okay? The next thing is step number 3 of what you can do is during this pause, during this breather, instead of focusing on your relationship and focusing on what she's doing, I want you to find your purpose, and I want you to implement a strategy called SPICE. So what I mean by your purpose is, remember, the reason she was attracted to you is you were a man on a mission. You hung out with your buddies, you went fishing, you were like this cool guy, and now you've become somebody different. And what you get to do at this stage is you get to become the person that she was originally attracted to, or even maybe a better version of that, because maybe your goals have changed for the better. Start walking in a line with who God called and created you to be, and get back on track with that mission. So part of finding your purpose is, why are you on earth and what are you created for? Start taking steps to go back to that person, okay? One of the ways that you do that is increase in the areas of SPICE, which SPICE is an acronym that stands for something that I came up with. You can increase in areas in your life of your spiritual attractiveness, your physical attractiveness, your intellectual attractiveness, and your character. If there's been some character issues, you can work on those now. Take this as an opportunity to better yourself. Emotional attractiveness. One of the easiest things that you can do at this stage, start going against the opposite of how you feel, okay? Your emotional and your spiritual attractiveness can go hand in hand by not acting on your feelings about things that you think you need. That's going to increase your emotional attractiveness. And another area that's going to increase in your emotional attractiveness to help you be a more emotionally safe man for her is get back in the gym. You know, if you have some medical issues and you can't do the gym, there's some things that you can do to increase in your physical attractiveness. And if you'll do that, that'll help you with the other areas. I have another video on SPICE that talks more in depth about that. But these are 3 things that you can stop doing today. And it's also 3 things that you can start doing today. And if you'll take these steps and you'll implement these, I promise you, you will start seeing short-term results in your relationship. As always, if you're at a stage in your relationship where you're about to be ending the relationship forever because maybe months have passed, she's filing a divorce, I can tell you time is never on your side when there's relationship troubles. And if you had a lot of time, you could actually watch enough YouTube videos that I put out to fix the relationship and maintain and have a wonderful relationship. But if you're at a stage in the relationship where it looks like it might be ending, or she's already seeing somebody else, or it looks like you're about to have a divorce, or she's going to start seeing somebody else, you need to take action. You need to take it fast. There's steps by step that are the opposite of what you're feeling. None of this is hard work, but there is a step by step that I have at my website, denvergriffin.com. I suggest that you go to that website, look at my free masterclass, and apply to work with me, and let's start getting this taken care of a lot faster.